Welcome to second session of UGBS 207, Social Responsibility and Ethics. Here, I'll be looking at innovative CSR. And when we talk of innovative CSR, basically we are looking at merging innovation and CSR, or doing CSR at the same time, trying to bring out some kind of novelty into your CSR activity so that it will inure to the benefit of the organization and society as a whole. So when we talk of innovative CSR, it's purely a strategy. It's a strategy that a firm needs to do new things and things that will improve society and improve the performance of the firm as well. By way of introduction or session overview, my dear student, innovative CSR is part of corporate marketing strategy that aims at ensuring value is added to the organization's products and services as the organizations undertake CSR activities. Thus, the essence is to give competitive advantage over rival firms. And that CSR initiatives and activities that result in a value creation for stakeholders is innovative CSR. Communicating this value appropriately is part of the innovative CSR strategy of an organization. And key issues to be discussed in this session include CSR as a marketing strategy and CSR as a competitive advantage, CSR and value creation, and CSR communication strategies. Session objectives. At the end of the session, you should be able to understand what is innovative corporate social responsibility, understand the key issues in innovative CSR, be able to analyze innovative CSR, and explain the strengths and weaknesses of it. Understand innovative CSR and how to identify innovative CSR from other corporate initiatives. Be able to analyze and discuss the provenance of innovative CSR among corporate and institutions. The session outline. The key topics to be covered in the session are as follows: CSR as a marketing strategy, CSR as a competitive advantage, CSR and value creation, and CSR as communication. My dear student, I would like to urge you to visit the UG Sakai platform for additional material on innovative CSR. CSR and competitive advantage. CSR should not be seen from a short-sighted viewpoint of philanthropy or charity. And here, what it means is that most scholars or practitioners will normally view CSR as equivalent to that of philanthropy or corporate philanthropy or discretionary activity. And as clearly we can observe from the introduction, we realize that CSR is broader than just philanthropic activities. If you take the Carroll conceptualization alone, you will realize that CSR involves economic issues, CSR also involves ethical issues, CSR involves legal issues. So usually most people focus on the philanthropic dimension and equate to CSR, and that is what this point is trying to tell you, that if you want to gain advantage from CSR, don't look at it from that narrow perspective. Companies can remain sustainable if CSR is used as a strategic tool by absorbing it in the business philosophy and integrating it to the core of the business. And this is another challenge of companies when they practice CSR. They usually see it to be peripheral to their core issues. They don't see it to be core in their strategy, and sometimes this also creates problems for organizations. So those firms that practice innovative CSR will be able to realize that it is important to integrate CSR into the core strategy of the business than seeing it to be a peripheral issue and not bothered on strategy. Progressive organizations have learned that what is good for community and environment is also good for business. So businesses who are innovative, who are practicing innovative CSR, have tended to realize that it is important they integrate corporate social responsibility into their core strategy, and what society actually needs is what your strategy should be driving your strategy, and not what the firm thinks that this is what they should be sending out to the market. The key components of CSR should include workplace and labor relations, supply chain, customers, environment, and community. The concept of CSR as a competitive advantage will be a differentiating factor for future business leaders. So businesses that will do well in future will realize the importance of innovative CSR and put CSR as a core issue in their strategy. To get the benefit of the concept of CSR as a competitive advantage, companies need to be inward looking. We need to look within our firm, what are the things that we have, what do you think that we can work with the community, and then we do that. They must analyze their business processes and identify the right opportunity for creation of competitive advantage. Look into the society and look at your strengths. What are your core competencies? What do you think you can leverage with the larger society? What does society need? And then this is where CSR can also be integrated in. Michael Porter and Mark Kramer argues that while CSR depends on being good corporate citizen and addressing every social harm, the business-crate strategic CSR is far more selective. So here, Porter and Kramer arguments is that yes, we should do CSR, but any innovative CSR, any CSR that is strategic should be selective. It's not everything in society that we can jam in and that we can make the what? The advantage. We should be selective in what we go in, and that is why we need to be inward searching, know where we have the competencies, what society needs, and what we can actually address very well, and that's what we should be looking at. They give 3 areas where they think competitive advantage maybe lie in strategic CSR. And first, identify points of intersection between company and society. We always need to find out what society requirements are and what our core competencies are, what we think we can leverage on, what we can do for the society. Second, select specific social issues to address and social needs in ways that create shared value, a meaningful benefit for society, and also adds to your company's bottom line. So here we are looking at win-win situation. The society must be benefiting, and the organization must also be benefiting from our CSR initiatives or the products and services that we offer to the society. Third, mount a small number of initiatives that generate large and distinctive benefits for society and your company. Don't try to start big. It can be small, and you can do quite a number of them, because if you start big and it fails, then you are in trouble. But if you have a bit of it, then you'll be able to see which ones are actually making impacts to society and the bottom line of the company than trying to put your eggs in one basket. CSR and value creation. Value is created when consumers are willing to pay a premium for the firm's products and services based on its involvement in the position with respect to specific social issues. Now, value creation occurs when firm resources are combined in new ways so as to increase the potential productivity of those resources. Here, value is viewed from 2 perspectives. Value from the eyes of the consumer and value from the eyes of the provider. When you say you've created a value, yes, you need to combine firm resources to come out with something new. And when we say new here, it could be a little modification or coming out with completing something that did not exist at all. Now, this value we are talking about must also be seen by the consumer. Consumer must be willing to pay additional money to receive the product and services, or else it doesn't make sense. You are not creating value. So the consumer should be willing to pay additional money to obtain that value. Value can be created through an organization's business model, which takes inputs from the capitals and transform them through business activities and interactions to produce outputs and outcomes that over the short, medium, and long term create or destroy value for the organization, its shareholders, society, and the environment. And corporate social responsibility is a new approach that helps companies to consider the interests of all stakeholders within both the organization and society. So CSR has the potential in terms of creating value by the organization understanding what society actually needs and delivering those things. Through that, firms will be able to realize what kind of value they can add to their product and services and bring it to the society, and the society will be willing to pay for it. There are some approaches that show how CSR plays out as a modern approach for value creation. The first approach is community-based development. The first approach is community-based development. And this approach focuses on local communities that companies can better work with. Example, creation of education facilities for HIV/AIDS education programs in Africa. So throughout participating in these kind of programs, firms will be able to come up with new ways by which societies actually want to use products. And not necessarily value being created from the firm perspective, but the value is also driven from participating in voluntary activities with the communities. Integration of CSR strategy for contribution into the business strategy of a company is another approach. So we can also integrate CSR into our strategy. For instance, a company might not just focus on the economic gains or the economic strategies that it deploys. It might also be interested in the social strategies that it will be deploying. How does it do it? And then this approach creates a fair trade for players of the business field, such as buyers and suppliers. Now, when companies are engaged in both economic and social strategies, it brings a balance. It means that the company is not just interested in maximizing its profit, it's also interested in maximizing the welfare of the society. And if this is happening, then there's no way that the companies will be accused of just being interested in themselves or producing products and services that are shoddy that society will not need. But if they balance both social and economic strategy. Another approach is creating shared value. And this is given by Noria and Gosha. The argument that the basis of this approach is an idea that company success and social welfare are interdependent. Okay? So companies will not just, your success alone will not make it. You have to make sure that the society is also benefiting. For instance, societies or companies will do well where they engage in guinea worm eradication. If such communities are free from such kind of diseases, then they will have additional resources to be able to purchase companies' products and services. And according to this approach, some factors such as health, educated workforce, sustainable, tangible, and intangible resources, adapt government are needed to compete effectively. So as I mentioned health, a healthy society will have a lot of resources to dispose of compared to unhealthy society. If you have a lot of educated workforce, it helps the organization than when you have less educated workforce. And here, when we talk of educated workforce, they understand the nuances, the operations of the organization. It makes it better. A lot of mistakes are avoided, and then the company tends to benefit. So spend money and educate your workforce. Ways to reap value from CSR initiatives. According to Hastert Allen, that there are three main ways that organizations can reap value from CSR initiatives. Differentiate products through innovative CSR products and processes. Okay, so companies can differentiate whatever that they are offering through CSR initiative, innovative CSR. If you're able to do that, differentiate your products and services, then you reap the benefits from your corporate social responsibility. If you just jump in to do CSR because others are also doing, and you are doing the same thing, it doesn't help. But where you come out with something different, something unique, it makes different, and you can benefit from your CSR initiatives. Build customer, even though with this point, it means that others, you are likely to be the first mover. If you are doing this, you are likely to be the first person to pioneer that, and you gain the advantages in that than others, though others have the opportunity to follow up to do similar things later. But always try to come up with something, differentiate yourself, do something new, and then you can benefit from your CSR initiative. Build customer and stakeholder awareness of responsible products. You also need to create that kind of awareness, so that consumers will go in for products that are responsible, products that are environmentally friendly, products that are community friendly, products that are society friendly. You need to create awareness of that so that consumers will tend to avoid products that are not environmentally friendly, that are not environmentally conscious. We need to build that. We need to create that kind of awareness so that stakeholders are aware, and then they will avoid products that do not incorporate CSR, innovative CSR. Innovate new ways to meet social, environmental, legal requirements, industry practices, and fiscal incentives. We need to also come up with new ways by which we can practice our social interventions, our environmental engagement, as well as the legal requirements. We need to come out with new ways that we can do them. Now, CSR also requires that when we practice CSR, we should communicate it. You cannot do your CSR without communicating, or else nobody will get to hear about it. For us, when we talk of innovative CSR, it is important that we communicate whatever engagement that we have done. We need to communicate, and it is a very, very important area when it comes to innovative CSR. Our CSR practices need to be made known. It's a business tool. So once it's a business tool, there is no religious issues here. You have to let your position be clear. So it is important you communicate your CSR activities, and both practitioners as well as scholars have agreed that it's an area by itself. We need to let our internal audiences know. We also need to let our external audiences know what we are doing. It's very, very important. And here, when we talk of our external audiences, we are looking at our environmental issues that we have engaged in. We need to disclose them. We need to let people know the kind of things that we have done, and companies concerned for the environment, lending and investment policies, conservation of energy in businesses. We need to clearly communicate this to our target audiences. We also need to disclose to our community involvement. We need to let people know charitable donations and activities, support for education, sponsorship, or recreational projects that we have engaged in. It is important that we disclose it as part of our innovative or strategic CSR. Also, human resource issues, employee health and safety. We need to communicate that. We need to employee training. If we train our staff, we need to let people know what we are doing, or else nobody will know. And then employee remuneration. Whatever that we give to our employee, by compensating them to motivate them, we need to disclose it. We need not to hide as part of our corporate social initiative. And then the product and customer disclosures, the product quality, we need to let people know our product quality as part of our corporate innovative corporate social responsibility or strategic CSR. People must be aware of the quality levels of our product. Customer complaints and satisfaction. Customer complaints, we need to disclose them, and we need to also tell how we have handled these customer complaints. It's very, very important we communicate. And provision of disabled customers. What have we made for customers who are disabled? What provisions have we made for them? We need to let people know about all this. So what do we communicate? The content that we communicate is very, very important. the content that we communicate is very, very important. We shouldn't communicate things that we haven't done. We should communicate exactly what we have done to society. If you check back, the reason why when I was talking about the criticisms of CSR in the introductory lecture, it was as a result of companies sometimes overblowing what they have actually done. That is what creates problems, that CSR is being criticized. But CSR is a good exercise, or it's a good strategic tool that when firms engage in and they communicate exactly what they have done to society, to communities, then they tend to gain. There are many factors that a business can emphasize in its CSR communication, such as its commitment to cause, the impact of it has on the cause, why it engages in a particular social initiative, CSR motives, and the congruency between the cause and the company's business. How does it relate to the business? So here we talk of the CSR fit. There must be some kind of fit. Strategic CSR is not haphazard. It must be done in consonance with the corporate image as well as the products and services that the organization is offering. And most CSR communication typically focuses on the company's involvement in various social causes rather than on the social causes themselves. Challenges with CSR communication: how to minimize stakeholder skepticism and to convey intrinsic motives in a company's CSR activities is a main challenge. Okay, although CEOs, government leaders insist on the fact that CSR projects create value for the firm, privately they admit that they do not know if CSR pays off. In a nutshell, session 2 discusses innovative CSR. And here, innovative CSR, we are looking at CSR being strategic, where we can use CSR to leverage and gain competitive advantage for the firm. Here, we are looking at firm being selective in its CSR involvement, say that they go into CSR that will inure to the benefit of the organization and the community as a whole. There are several forms of innovative CSR firms can engage in. They can look at it from the internal perspective, and they can also look at it from the external perspective. And also here, we were interested in CSR creating value. CSR creating value for the society and the business as well. So that a firm that is engagement in society can lead to the firm being able to pick out new ideas that never existed, or ideas that wouldn't have come from the firm. So here, in a nutshell, this is what innovative CSR basically is looking at. A fit, a strategic fit, a fit between the organization resources in terms of its corporate social responsibility engagement and what pertains, what exists in the society, what society requirements are. There are some sample questions that you may want to try your hands on. First, identify and explain 2 types of CSR disclosures. What is CSR fit? And explain innovative CSR.